me know if you guys can hear me now in the chat. Okay, sweet. Um, so like I was saying, if you can learn how to collapse years of time, then it really doesn't matter what you've already done with the time that you're perceiving that you've wasted or that you haven't used appropriately. And it's really interesting. Most of my clients are much older than me. And something that they always say is, "Oh my gosh, like if I would have if I would have had the confidence or the know-how to execute in the way that you're executing at that age, right? I would be so much further along." And there's a lot of guilt and shame that comes with um age. And what I always say is, well, one, you have to understand there are different periods and phases that the earth and the collective is ready for. The work that I'm doing, the work that a lot of other people are doing, the planet actually just now got ready for it. So if you're someone who's like, I should have been doing this, or why did I stay in this job for that long? It's okay that you use that time in that way. That's just like a little important thing that I'm hearing that needs to be said for a few people. Now, getting into the actual illusion of age, this is what I really want to spend some time on. Most of us here know that we are eternal souls, right? We are simply energy. We are this inexhaustible, never ending, always existing, encompassing energy. And what's actually happening is your oversoul right now is allowing you to be consciously zoomed in on a particular point of your existence. That's the only thing that's happening. Because your oversoul is infinite and eternal, it's having so many experiences simultaneously. You just get to be in on this one. So, in the grand scheme of time, in the grand scheme of your actual age, you are a never ending stream of consciousness experiencing the illusion of time in different ways. And it's okay that we can use linearity to create an illusion of a story unfolding. So, what I mean by that, like, what does it mean when we talk about linearity? Linear means, we come out the womb, you're 1 years old, then you're two, then you're three, you're four, you're five, right? There's a continuation. There's this expectancy of the next age or the next step, right? It's very linear. That's largely how humans have been experiencing time for the purpose and benefit of certain soul lessons. And what I mean by that is, if you came here, let's say you came here to learn forgiveness, realistically, if you're in a level of consciousness, if your soul is in a level of evolution where you're still learning about forgiveness, you're going to need to be able to play out a certain story, right? The time that it takes for this thing that first happens to you, that then you're going to have to forgive someone. The time that it's going to take you to start understanding um, why forgiveness might be important for your journey, the time that it takes you to make amends with this person. You see, it's all just a story. It's a drama. It's a play that our soul is playing out. But in order for us to make sense of it, we need time. So another thing is, you also don't want to be in battle with time. And this is what I see a lot of people doing. Like, when we talk about time, it's like, oh, well, time is an illusion. And some people see that as a negative thing. It's not a negative thing. And that's actually one of the key steps before learning how to speed it up or slow it down, is that you actually just make peace with its existence. It has a place, it has value, it has a purpose, right? Let's all just make peace with time and with linear consciousness. Linear consciousness allows us to have the gradual unfolding, the incremental unfolding of a story, so that certain lessons and experiences can take place but make sense to us on a conscious level. As we start evolving into quantum consciousness, we can break up the linearity of any story. What do I mean by that? Right now, there's a certain trajectory or unfolding of your life, and maybe it's things have been slow or stagnant for a certain period of time. You wake up in the morning, you go to work, you come home, you eat dinner, you go to sleep. That's your life. Maybe on the weekends, sometimes you see friends or you do things, and then Monday comes back around and you do the same thing. That's the frequency, that's the pace, that's the wavelength of your life. It's very linear. There's no points of divergence. There are not that many points of spontaneity. There are not that many points of shifting the energy up, breaking the energy up. And that's usually because we're in a state of being sleep. We're in a state of unawareness. So because we're unaware of our ability to shift things up, we're comfortable. And it seems like we don't have control over the frequency of our life, how slow or how fast things are going. Okay. But it's actually not true. Now, if I were fully anchored in my quantum awareness and consciousness, I would never actually feel stuck. I would never actually feel stagnant. It's impossible. And I want to just highlight an example that I used for some folks in my membership the other day to just kind of highlight how the quantum continuum works in terms of us shifting through time frames. So this is my hand here holding this pin. Okay. I'm just going to shift my hand over here. Now, because of the way that reality is structured and is set up, it would appear that there was this motion, this movement. That's also an illusion, because what's actually happening is that I'm just rapidly through, I'm hearing like a billions of seconds or something like that. I don't even have like it in my vocabulary of what they're giving me. But what's happening is I'm shifting through parallel timelines, slots and frames in existence so fast that we get the illusion of the motion and the movement from my hand moving here to here, the pen moving from here to here, right? This is the quantum mechanics of reality and how things work. So when your life looks the same for extended periods of time and it seems like things are not changing, and you're caught up in this illusion of your age and you feel like you're wasting time, you're actually just shifting through parallel slots within existence that look structurally similar because the frequency is the same, right? Maybe it's like each frame, each slot, it's like a different organization by like one or two atoms. So it looks the same, right? A couple of particles are rearranged in a small way, and thus we get maybe a little bit of a different picture, but it feels the same. It looks the same. It's the same shit. Um, that's when we're trapped in linearity. So I need everybody right here, whether you're on YouTube or Instagram, whatever platform, I need you to accept, not even, I need you to first accept and then know. And I'm saying this because we have to break the foundation of our beliefs. We have to break the foundation of how we perceive reality. Okay. So I want you to accept and then know that you are simply surfing through time, the illusion of time, slots and frames within existence, impossible to be stuck. Even if it occurs that you're stuck, or it feels that you're stuck, or you feel stagnant because the illusion of movement is not taking place, you're still moving. You're just moving through slots and frames that look and feel very similar because on a frequency level, you're vibrating the same. Feeling a lot of relief and resistance just clearing from folks right now, because The whole idea that you can be stuck keeps you stuck. This is why I'm spending so much time on this, to really hardwire it as a new program in your operating system. And let me know in the chat, how does this feel in your body? You should already be feeling a sense of movement. Oh, I have been moving. I just have been moving through parallel time frames and slots within existence that feel and look similar based on vibration and the belief that I'm stuck. Okay. Right. It feels like relief. Anytime we feel relief, it's because we were believing in an untruth. We weren't believing in an absolute truth of reality. We weren't believing in the a structural principle of creation that governs life. Okay, so we got our new core belief, which is that it's impossible for us to be stuck because we are surfing time. We are just surfing through time slots and time frames. Okay, now this next piece, because someone asked, well, how do we change this? How do we shift it? Um, Okay, so we're going to approach it this way. Right now, I want you to identify a core problem that you believe you have. And some folks are saying they're still wrapping their heads around the time slots. I'll summarize it towards the end and just like really button it up really nicely. But I want you to identify a major problem or repetitive theme that's been running in your life? Is it that you have this really tiresome relationship that you can't wrap your mind around if you should stay, if you should go, if that's the problem? Is it money, or you want a career change, you want a new job, you want to relocate somewhere? Okay, we got our problem identified. Is it that we don't feel prepared for something or ready for something, or we feel like we just got derailed? Looks differently for each and every one of us. At the core of any and every problem, this is really important. The core of any and every problem is a belief in lack. And we're going to connect this back to the quantum time matrix. But first, it's a belief in lack. You're believing that something is lacking. So now let's reverse engineer this. Let's say my problem right now is that I don't have a job and I'm really looking for one. So for my human, the problem is that I don't have income coming in and I feel stuck and I feel stagnant, and this is going on and on and on forever, and I feel like I'm never going to escape this phase of my life. What is the lie in the illusion? The lie in the illusion is that the job or the income that I'm calling in was never scarce to begin with. Going back to quantum time frames and slots in reality. And I see someone mentioned Bentino Massaro. He's actually really fantastic at explaining this. If you want to learn more about um, quantum time matrix and that type of thing. So the lie or the untruth is that what we need in the moment to solve this problem doesn't exist. But if all of these frames are infinite and they're actually never ending, okay, this is great. Source is giving me they were all created at the beginning, at the spark, at the beginning of consciousness and thought, because they're just infinite. And what we're actually doing is, as we go through our experience of reality, we are fine tuning and coming to conscious awareness of which one we want to activate, because they're vibrational. Really, they're just frequency and vibration until we activate them and we experience them. So we have infinite time slots and frames or parallel realities, whatever you want to call it, within existence. The job or the money, that frame, that version of me in that frame, experiencing that job and that money does exist. We're going to talk about accessing it, but this is just laying the foundation. It does exist. So, this illusion of lack, essentially, that I'm believing in, that's creating suffering, emotional suffering, and pain for me in terms of feeling stuck and stagnant and like I can't have this thing. I'm yearning for it. I need it. My life is falling apart. You have to get to the core of what you're believing, which is usually lack. You're believing in lack. So, abundance is the only real truth. This is the second core belief that we're programming into your operating system. One, I'm shifting through time frames within existence. Therefore, it's impossible for me to ever be stuck. Two, abundance is the only real truth. The abundance that we're talking about, quantum abundance, is the infinity of all of these frames within existence that you can activate and experience. That's true abundance. Abundance is not necessarily the condition of you having to have something right now. This is like really important because we don't allow ourselves to experience the emotional qualities of abundance or the state of being of abundance, which is just the presence of the thing that we want, because we're perceiving that we don't have it. But when we activate, shift into our quantum consciousness, we know, oh, that does exist. It has to exist. I can't even think of that as a possibility. It can't even be born inside of me as a desire if it doesn't exist, if it didn't exist. So it does exist. And that's what abundance really is that whatever solution or outcome that you need right now, it does exist. So something happens when we make abundance our core operating system. And it's that we don't spend time, as much time, right? Because we're still human and anything can trigger us back into like a moment of lack, but that's okay as long as we know how to get ourselves, back in alignment. Um, what was I gonna say? Abundance as the core operating system means that we're no longer creating emotional suffering and strategizing. So, what our mind likes to do is try to figure out and solve problems all day long. And notice if you've been doing this recently. If recently you've been thinking over and over and over again about how to solve something, where am I going to get the money from? How am I going to figure this out? Where is it? That is, you're operating on lack because the ego mind is entertaining the illusion that what you need doesn't exist. And that's what people do all day long. Where is it going to come from? How am I going to get it? Who do I need to manipulate to get it? Who am I pissed at because they won't give it to me? You got to upgrade your operating system to be in alignment with the core principles of quantum reality. You have to function as a quantum being. And this is how we break up the linearity of whatever illusion or story we're perpetuating. And I'm just curious to know if you guys can share in the chat whatever problem you identified, are you recognizing that the problem never existed? And if you're recognizing that the problem never existed, how freeing does that feel to you? The moment we say the problem doesn't exist, We open up space within our consciousness to be receptive to the answer or the solution or the intuition or the insight. Every single person is a channeler or a um, able to connect and communicate with quantum consciousness, right? I'm not even going to say different types of beings and realms and etc. Let's just strip it down to the core of what it is. It's multidimensional quantum consciousness. And that the solution that you're looking for can come from any point within multidimensional quantum consciousness. But this is what happens. Each and every one of us, our brain, along with our third eye, our pineal gland, is a transmitter and receiver of frequency. You are like your own Wi-Fi device. You are quantum technology. All technology is actually modeled after our human brain, our eyes, and other intelligent functions of our systems because we are the original organic technology. Okay, so you have this transmitter and receiver of frequency. When you are in the operating system of lack, basically struggling and strategizing and focusing on what you perceive to not exist, you're not in resonance with boom, the frequencies, the channel, the information, the guidance that can drop in that you could receive to help you recenter, refocus, know what to do and where to go. Okay, looks like we are frozen on Instagram. A little bit too much energy, probably. YouTube people, let me know if you're still here hanging out. Um, I might have to, yeah, Instagram went out. I might have to go back on there for those folks. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, my phone is like literally getting ready to overheat. Okay, okay, okay. Let me see. Bear with me, bear with me. Just a lot of energy today, that's all. Okay. Okay, so we're back live on Instagram. Sorry about that. Where were we? Where were we? Okay, so when we're in this repetitive cycle of struggling and striving and trying to figure it out and operating on lack, we can't be the open channel. We can't be the receiver of the frequency. We can't be the receiver of the guidance because the vibration of uh, pure spirit, which is guiding each and every one of us, is here. When you're in lack consciousness, you're here or lower. So there's this vibrational gap. If every single time something occurred, and it doesn't matter if it brings up fear temporarily or whatever, we're here to have this emotional experience as well. But as long as you know that abundance is the only real truth, you can access a frequency that allows you to receive the next steps. And instead of panicking, you say, okay, well, realistically, I know that this timeline, this frame within existence does exist. Source, can you guide me to getting there? What is my practical next step? Continuing and expanding off of the job example. Instead of you being in the energy of, I don't have a job, I really need income, no one's calling me back, because that's just a vibration that's going to perpetuate in the field and keep that energy recycling. We're going to talk about that next. Let me write this down. Recycling of energy is important. If you continue to do that, you again, right? We did the example of shifting through time frames that just look the same. That's basically what that scenario is. But if we say, okay, well, maybe my next step is that I need to review my resume, Or maybe my next step is that I need to do some shadow work regarding um, maybe I don't feel actually qualified or ready for the position that I'm asking for. And that's why no one's calling me back. Or like there's so many, it's just crazy because when I do quantum healing work with people and we tap into their subconscious mind, the beliefs are really infinite. They're really infinite as to why we could be subconsciously creating something or blocking something. But if we give ourselves the space to operate in our abundance, we're no longer afraid of reality. This is why we're talking about this, because if you're afraid of what's already presenting itself, that already puts you on the defense. When we're on the defense, that's not the frequency of alignment where we're experiencing true co-creatorship with source. This is why it's so important to switch operating systems, going from the lack operating system to the abundance operating system. When I'm in the abundance operating system, it's inherently built into my approach on reality that source is on my side and co creating with me. I'm not going to miss out on anything. Even if right now, this is the picture, this is the holographic image, this is the illusion of what's happening, I'm going to boom, sink into that harmonic alignment of abundance, and source is going to let me know what I need to do next. And the illusion of being stuck dissolves. Okay? Because really, when we feel stuck, that's scarcity, the polarity to abundance. There's not a single thing that we desire to create or experience that is scarce. Not a single thing. Okay? So okay, we're going to talk about navigating time, navigating the quantum time matrix. And it's actually really simple. All spiritual matters are simple. Your feelings are your compass. And this is what I mean. The feeling that you cultivate inside of yourself literally guides you to the timeline that feels like that. Now, this is so important because you can't actually consciously know what your highest timeline looks and feels like. Like I'm experiencing one of the highest timelines I've ever been on, but it's completely different than what um the version of me 1 year ago could have ever fathomed, right? Living in a completely different state, in a completely different relationship, completely different aspects of projects and businesses and things that I've done over the last 12 months. All literally all new people in my life outside of my biological family. Um it's you can't know it, right? You just can't know it, but you can feel it before you see it. And the feeling is the vibrational quality that transports, literally teleports you there. I'm seeing this actually as the heart center. Your heart is your compass. Your heart is your GPS, your quantum navigation technology. When you amass or accumulate this feeling in your heart of how you want to feel. And this is the hardest part because if we're seeing something that we don't like, how do we create that energy in our heart of how we want to feel? But when we accumulate that feeling of love, and love is, by the way, the most powerful frequency to create with, because when I tap into this essence of love, it's just going to take me in the quantum to all the places and the people that feel like love. If you want to simplify your entire manifestation process, focus on entering a frequency of love, cultivating a frequency of love. Your heart, the compass, the navigational system, it will, okay, interesting. What happens is you are radiating this signal, and this signal goes far and wide in the quantum until it meets with a match. It meets with a match. Again, you can't know what it is. You can't know who it is. You can't know who is on that timeline. But the signal that you send via feeling is what takes you there, right? You radiate it out, it meets up with other harmonic frequencies in the field, and then they start dancing around each other, and then it presents itself as a co-creation in the physical. It's like it's a magnet, actually. You pull it in. I'll give you guys a practical example of creating love. Because oftentimes we think of love as only a romantic state of being or quality, but it's really your love for the experience that you're asking for. And this is actually how I've created anything in my life, is I will cultivate the love for the experience that I'm asking for. This is simultaneously the frequency of abundance. Love and abundance are, they go hand in hand. Okay. So I was thinking about my dream house yesterday, and just like thinking about like where I want to move next and how it should feel and that type of thing. And my guys were like, okay, well, we're going to just drop you into a frame that holds the vibrational essence of what this place feels like, because right now you don't know where it is, right? You're looking at different areas, you are speculating about different things, and doing the human thing. The human thing is when we're like the action part, and they're like, but you actually want to accomplish this vibrational part first, because that's going to magnetize it in. So I close my eyes and I'm sitting there, and I'm imagining all of the things that I want in the experience of this home, and cultivating that emotional state of being inside of myself. I'm living in the frame. I'm living in the frame. I'm feeling the natural sunlight coming in through the windows. I'm feeling this, when I wake up in the morning, what does it feel like to be in this home? Verbally as well is really good to engage this process. Verbally, and as I'm defining the details, and more of the details are actually being revealed to me of things that I didn't even know that perhaps I would enjoy in a home. I'm falling in love with the experience before I ever see it, before I ever have it, before I ever know where it is or what it looks like. I'm creating the experience that lights my heart up. And anything that we want, we can do that. And that signal goes out into the quantum field and identifies what is a resonant match and then brings it back to us. And when you engage your quantum navigation system consciously, there is a sense of completion. You see, when we're operating on the lack system, where, and I'll use the same example. Let's say I was approaching this from the lens of, and I live in San Diego, which is like the most expensive city in the country. If I were to be in a frequency of, you know what, the housing market in San Diego is absolutely insane. I'm never going to find a home that I feel like is maybe a price sweet spot for me, on top of the ocean views that I want, on top of all of the things that I want. It's going to be so hard. That's lack. That's a waste of time. It doesn't make sense to do that, guys. That's like what we're really trying to emphasize. It doesn't make sense to use your energy in that way. You're playing into the illusion of scarcity. You're playing into the idea that what you would actually desire does not exist. That's the lack operating system. Get clear on where you've been doing that in your life, and it's just you creating the delay. You are creating the delay. It's not that the time frame, slot, timeline, parallel reality, whatever we call it, within creation, within existence, isn't there for you. It's that you're focusing on the absence of it, the lack of it. It's the feeling of the presence. It's the feeling of falling in love with the experience that brings it to you. Because I right now, I can't know what this house looks like. I just don't know. I don't know what street it's on. I don't know where it's located. I don't know anything about this house in a physical logical sense. It's completely like off my radar screen. I can't know that. That's quantum information. So if I want to leverage quantum information, I have to function as a quantum being. I can't function as my linear self. And this is how we start untangling ourselves from the karmic patterns. What is karma? You know, and I'm having a master class on 222. We're going to be talking about healing karmic timelines, but it has everything to do with what we're already talking about today. Karma is when you're recycling energy. You're recycling through the same timelines that look and feel the same. Same types of occurrences, same types of events, same types of emotions, same types of feelings, same types of outcomes. It's just the same. It may show up differently, but it's the same energy in disguise. You're reliving the past over and over and over again. Now, that's what we call kind of being stuck in time. People that feel stagnant are just stuck in time, a timeline loop of remanifesting the same events over and over and over and over and over again, right? We're creating um, a point of divergence for you that allows you to free yourself from that illusion. And so, just making sure I'm getting on the points they wanted me to drive home today. We started with the illusion of age, and I want to just circle it back around to this because a lot of us put an emphasis on how old we are, and then that creates shame or guilt around what we have already created, which is another form of entertaining lack, which is another form of uh, recycling through time or experiencing time really slow. Every time I say I'm really old or I'm getting older and I haven't accomplished enough, that just sends out a signal to keep things moving at a delayed speed. If I collapse the idea of age altogether and I decide to operate within my quantum being, my true soul nature and being, and I understand that what maybe would have took me before 4 years to create, maybe I can create that in 4 months. So who really cares about the human age? These are the ideas I want you to start playing around so you can get the I mean, yeah, really get get the entities off of you, because these are all of the thoughts and ideas and beliefs that they're just implanting within your operating system. I'm too old, I'm too slow, it's too late, this can't happen for me. Other people can have this, but I can't. My race or ethnicity is holding me back. I don't have access. That's another lack belief, by the way. I'm at a disadvantage. Okay, this one, we really got to talk about this before we wrap up today. This one hits deep. This one hits deep. This is kind of like, this is the collective karma and also the ancestral karma. Where do you feel that you are disadvantaged? Truly. Be honest with yourself right now. Do you feel disadvantaged? That's okay. But I want you to understand that the frequency of being having a disadvantage is the frequency of lack. There's nothing in the quantum that you don't have access to when you understand how to use your quantum navigation technology. The biggest program, the biggest illusion is that you are a victim of something. That's the whole collective karma that us star seeds, earth angels, light workers, etc., came here to dismantle. If I'm connected to the infinite creator of all that is, that has access to every single timeline and realm and dimension, how could I ever be at a disadvantage? It doesn't make sense. It just actually doesn't make sense. We're just crashing some coding right now. That's what we're doing. That's why the Instagram froze earlier, because these are very dense chords and programs and codes that keep people recycling through time loops. Quantum navigation technology, it's your heart. The strongest, so you have two transmitters of frequency devices built into you, your brain and your pineal gland, and then you have your heart. They're like um other like I'm seeing just other circuit points and things like that, but these are your two strongest points and centers for transmitting and receiving frequency, which is how you navigate the quantum field. And the strongest, most powerful frequencies are love and abundance, which are one and the same. This is going to be on YouTube for the people on Instagram asking, because I'm on YouTube live right now. It's going to be the replay will be immediately available. So, the underdog energy, the I'm disadvantaged energy. We're in a year of 8, an infinity portal. You want to collapse that belief as soon as possible so you can go where you need to go within the quantum continuum to experience the love, beauty, and abundance and fulfillment that you've been asking for. As long as you, so the thing is that source doesn't feel bad for you. Source doesn't feel bad for me. Source doesn't feel bad for you. Source doesn't feel bad for anyone here, because source only holds the true awareness of who you really are. And so I love this question. Erin, can you please tell me one way to keep these beliefs intact? Listen to your quantum navigation. Does it feel good? If it doesn't feel good, that's the evidence that you should stop engaging that thought or that belief. It takes practice, right? Because for a long time, we're so used to just being sucked into it, consumed into it. We don't challenge it because we're not aware of it. This is where I need you to step into your ascended master frequency. What am I entertaining? As many times through the day, if you can ask yourself, what am I entertaining? What am I believing? You don't have to get into the nitty gritty of the details, but how are you feeling is going to tell you everything about what you're thinking and what you're believing. And it's quick. You do this with zero judgment, with 100% self compassion, and you simply switch and you say, oh, that doesn't feel good. I choose to feel this way because I know this is how source feels. Easy. Every single time you do that, it then becomes a part of who you are, which is what I like to call your vibrational set point. And if you've been following me for a while, I talk about this often. Your vibrational set point is, if I were to call you on the phone tomorrow, middle of the day, how are you going to be feeling? Typically, how do you usually feel? What is your foundational mood? What is the energy that you typically operate in? But you have to consciously create this. Um, it's really possible to be a happy person. At first, it feels unrealistic. It feels fake. It feels like, are there really people in the world who are just happy? Like they're just happy. It's possible. You can become that person. You can train yourself to become a happy person. Every single time you recognize I'm entertaining lack, I'm entertaining scarcity, I'm entertaining the solution more than I am the abundance of I'm entertaining the problem more than I'm entertaining the abundance of the solution. Okay, that's okay. I know this is just a pattern that was hardwired into me. I'm going to switch. I'm going to find a way to entertain abundance. I'm going to find a way to think about a solution. I'm going to find a way to sync up with source, to sync up with love so that I can receive the next practical steps. And then when things happen, they don't impact you as much. And then they start happening less and less and less. And then you're in a situation where most of the problems are like not really problems. The big issue here, and I want to just acknowledge this, is that most of the problems that people have are very connected to their survival. It's usually money or something that impacts their immediate circumstances or situation. When you get out of that world, when you just like the problems that I have now, problems, they're not that dramatic as they used to be because my immediate survival is not threatened. You have to do this work enough for you to at least we're trying to at least get enough people into timelines of stability, because then it's easy. It's easy for you to shift your mood. It's easy for you to shift your thoughts or your beliefs about something. But when you have all of these immediate circumstances in your life that challenge your sense of safety, it is really difficult. But every single person here is equipped to do the job. Your desire and your willpower to want something different for yourself has to surpass the comfortability of doing the same things over and over again, approaching your situation the same way. That's comfortable. And financial stability is typically the most difficult thing for us to heal karmically and shift in our reality. Once you solve that, you will actually find that 95% of your problems go away. Because right now, maybe what your ego is strategizing around is just to get you some safety and security. So you don't have to think about where your next whatever is coming from. The only way you're going to access those timelines of thriving is to start training yourself to operate as a being who thrives. People who thrive, we operate in the quantum. I'll give you an example of this. I've had so many financial things just through the course of career and business of losing multi-million dollar deals or losing thousands of dollars, things going wrong. But what I do is, in the moment that it happens, I never allow myself to say, the money is lost, or this thing is lost, or I made this horrible mistake and I'm never going to get that back. I make peace with it, I accept it, I learn from it, and I immediately tap into a frequency of abundance that would allow whatever that was to instantaneously be replaced. So in that way, there's no such thing as loss. That's an example, a really practical example of being a quantum being, allowing yourself to thrive as a quantum being. You don't have to hold on to things, and you don't have to regret things, and you don't have to have fear about things, because you know there's this never ending stream of what can come in next. this never ending stream of what can come in next. If I lose $50,000 today, I can make $100,000 tomorrow. So did I really lose 50,000 or did I just make $100,000? That's abundance, guys. That's abundance. Did I really lose this partner or this friendship, or did I just vibrationally outgrow it in the next octave? The next best reflections are coming in, and it can happen. It can happen in a way. That's why they have me doing like this, because it's a cycle, it's a rhythm, it's a flow. When you're in harmony with the universe, it just goes like this. There's a releasing and a receiving. There's a releasing and a receiving. Never a period of lack. You don't have to experience lack if you're in flow with this releasing and receiving. Oh, I just released that person. Oh, this person just came in. Oh, that money just left, but oh, this money just came in. It Do you understand? That's that's where you're going. That's where everything is going. Um I'm just scanning to see what else, or if have we reached a point of satisfaction here as a mini collective. Allow your heart to come alive again. And what we mean is that we understand, many of you, this is source energy coming through. There are many of you who have been disconnected from us for so long that you don't allow yourself to entertain the possibility of what would really make you happy, what would really fulfill you, what would really light you up, what would really excite you. You don't want to imagine something different. You don't want to believe that something can change. And we're just clearing some subtle layers of density in the heart, not allowing you to truly radiate the frequency of your highest excitement. Your highest excitement is your highest love, is your highest timeline, is your highest expression of self. So if the excitement is cut off or watered down, that's just killing the entire creative process. And we're talking about creating reality. The first step in creating your reality is to fall in love with the idea of something, to have this is why Napoleon Hill called it a burning desire. You must have a burning desire, which is a passion or an excitement or an affinity towards something. This is where source lives. Source lives in the excitement of all possibility. And if you are not allowing yourself to live in the excitement of possibility because your circumstances are dominating your awareness, that is what keeps you stuck. Get really excited about something. If you had it, what it would feel like. If you're looking for a new job right now, don't just think about the money. How would it actually feel to do that job? To walk in that space, to feel the energy of that place and those people and the ideas and the collaborative projects, how you would be flowing your intelligence to support the expansion of this organization. How good does that feel to you? Fall in love with that. That magnetizes it to you. If you want a relationship, don't just think about wanting a relationship for the sake of being able to say you have a partner to satisfy your ego. What does it actually feel like to share space with that person? Heart to heart, soul to soul, mind to mind, co creating, going on adventures, sharing ideas, feeling safe, co creating together in ways, building a family, traveling. Immerse yourself in the feeling of that love. it will bring it to you. Not, I don't want someone who does this. I don't want a job that feels like this. Same thing with the house, the dream house example. Ah, what would it feel like to pull up to this place? How do I feel when I wake up in the morning and the light comes into the window and I look around and I say, this place is beautiful. I love being here. I love navigating this space. I love creating in this space. I love that this space is my sanctuary. I love inviting people over to this space. I love how it supports me. I love how it holds the energy of who I am. That's falling in love with an experience before we ever have it. We give ourselves the emotional experience of it before we ever see it, which is completion. When I'm complete emotionally, I cannot vibrate lack. We're doing as many examples as we can because we want to respark your innocence, the part of you that's longing to feel this way, but you don't allow yourself to go there. Allow yourself to go there. What do you want? Like, what do you want? Feel that, hold that, embody that, nurture that. That's how you give birth to something, is you first nurture it with love. Your love of the experience, your love for your total sheer love and excitement for the possibility of this thing. If you could even allow yourself to get so excited by the what if of something, that is a very powerful frequency to materialize things. Very powerful frequency. It's actually, I would say, one of my most favorite manifestation tools and techniques that I enjoy using to create things. Oh my gosh, like if this happens, that would be fucking insane. And just entertain it. Entertain the idea like a child. You know, when children make believe and they play and they dress up and they do all these things and they're just the smallest things, they're just so excited because they understand the beauty and the possibility. And that's the whole joy of being alive, is that what is possible for me next? That's the space that source lives in eternally. What is possible for creation next? What can be experienced within existence next? What can we identify as a possibility next, and then create it and then live it and then experience it and then add it to the Akashic memory of all that is? To tell that tale, to live that dream, to be in that story as that character. That's the whole point. So we've just expanded your heart, pulled you into the true essence of your inner child so you can live this way. You can break up the monotony, the routine, the linearity of whatever you're experiencing. And this is this year of 8, this infinity portal. We're calling it an infinity portal because there are so many timelines that you have not been able to access that are waiting for you to call them in. They're waiting for you. They're literally just waiting for you to access a harmonic frequency within yourself that grants you the opportunity to experience more love and joy and fulfillment than you could even believe. And for Source, that's the whole point. Source wants to see us in love with our life and wants to blow our mind in the best possible way. The best possible way. Erin, do you have anything about wanting to feel loved and appreciated by others? This is a great question, and it goes hand in hand with everything we just talked about. Can you feel that way about yourself? I love my personality. I love my humor. I love my drama and theatrics. I love my genius. I love how I show up in friendships and relationships. You see, you don't actually want these other people to love you. You want a state of being, but you can give yourself that state of being. We have to start giving ourselves things that we want other people to give us. Really important if you're mending like sources just giving me family dynamics where some of you are like waiting for this apology from your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother, or you're waiting for that moment of affirmation. You're waiting for that moment that they finally say what you've been waiting for them to say. But what if you just stop waiting and you give yourself that? Close your eyes, go in your imagination, meet your own inner child, stand by him or her, tell them what they need to hear. They don't care where it comes from, they just need to hear it, they just need to feel it. I love you. You are enough. You have so much to offer. You have so many gifts and talents and qualities. And you know what true freedom is? It's when we no longer need it from other people because we know how to give it to ourselves. Any and love and relationships are beautiful, right? The arguably the most beautiful part of reality is that we can share and give and receive love with other people. But there's nothing like being able to create an emotional state of being inside of yourself that's between you and source, because you have access to that at any point. You don't have access to what you expect from other people at any point. Why? Because people are on their own journey. They don't have time to unconditionally nurture us. Only really source can unconditionally nurture us. And we can unconditionally nurture ourselves to the best of our ability. So, um, instead of looking for that and needing that, I want you to just sit with yourself and give it to yourself. You deserve to receive that from yourself. And once you receive it from yourself, you don't need anyone else to give it to you. It's nice, it's extra, it feels good. But if you walk out my life tomorrow, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to create an emotional state of love between myself and source. That's true freedom. That's what it means to be living your life off the hook. Like it people come, people go. And I can say this as someone who, like, looking at my life right now, there, like I said earlier, outside of my biological family, there are very few people in my life who were in my life even a year ago. People typically just don't stay in my life that long. I mean, now it's a threshold has been met where it's a little bit different, where there are some folks who are going to be around. But when you're shifting through, your own karma or lessons or things and these interactions that create mastery, a lot of these people come and go very fast. And you have to learn how to be self sufficient in love. I remember a few months back, like Source had guided me to just kind of like abruptly end some friendships. And you guys know Eli Jackson, like one of my favorite mentors, like my spiritual father channel. And I'm in this conversation with Elliot, and he's like channeling Source. And I'm like, that was crazy. Like all of these dynamics, and Source just goes, it's just time. It was just time to end those friendships. And um, the spiritual path is lonely. Direct words from source. The spiritual path is lonely. More people are coming, but the spiritual path is lonely sometimes. And that's just a truth. Because you have to learn how to walk as a sovereign being that has access to infinite love, not conditional love of humans and earth and human interactions. It's when love is a part of you. So you're always in a state of experiencing love. You can be in love with yourself. You can be in love with nature. You can be in, like, you can choose anything to be in love with. But it's true. The spiritual path is and can be lonely. That's just a fact. I also feel like I don't uh, need to go to some group events even if I'm invited. Well, your soul is not excited to go to these places because it's not in alignment on some level. But your mind is going to tell you that you're missing out on something. That's a perfect example to create an emotional state of being of fulfillment and satisfaction. Meaning, whether I go or I don't go, my fulfillment comes from my comfortability within myself. Whenever you don't want to do something, it's important that you don't force yourself to do it. Because usually, if we don't want to do it, it's because there's no momentum. Perfect example, like I had a friend, kind of like former-ish friend, that just kept reaching out to me to just make contact or hang out or do something. And I was just like, there's no energy behind it for me. Like, I don't feel eager. I don't feel excited. I'm not upset about anything, but I also just don't feel a pull to use my time in that way. And so I just asked Source and I said, I'm like, what is this about? Like, this person keeps reaching out to me, but I feel nothing. And they just said there's a vibrational gap. That's all you really need to know. You're in this energy of thriving and momentum and excitement and magic and joy and unbelievable love. And who knows what this person is experiencing? That's why we mentioned earlier with our feelings and our this quantum navigation technology, our feelings are the highest form of telepathic communication between us and infinite intelligence. The feeling itself is embedded with so much information. You feel something. You don't know why. You don't have the information, but the feeling itself is being downloaded to and through you to give you insight into this information in the field and in the quantum that you can't see. So the feeling is going to proceed the information usually, and this is largely what it means to be psychic. Um Usually when I have psychic visions or premonitions or whatever, it mainly starts with a feeling, how I feel about something. And it took me time to trust that feeling, and not write it off as like, oh, maybe I'm making this up or, whatever. It's no. So I started saying something to help me um, just anchor into those feelings, which is what you feel is real. What you feel is real. You're feeling something because there's something else going on. You don't have the information yet. And every single time I feel something before I have the information always reveals itself in due time. And I go, oh, that's what that feeling was about. I didn't know at the time the information, but I knew that it was telling me something. Most people have this. It's practice like everything else, training yourself to um acknowledge the feeling as a psychic, it's your psychic intuition. So someone's asking about the hummingbird on my hat. So if you watch a recent podcast that I did with Huna Flash, amazing, amazing, another one of my spiritual brothers, fathers, mentors, just an incredible soul. He spoke about the um season of the hummingbird, I believe it was, or the hummingbird as a very powerful symbol for this new golden age. And there's like a whole conversation we had about hummingbirds, his experience with hummingbirds, my experiences, and some other esoteric things. And so when I went to Sedona recently, we were doing like this group hike, and there's like this little store. I went in there and I was like, no way, right? This hat that has the hummingbird. And I thought, I have to get this hat. So That is a little bit of magic behind the hummingbird hat right now. Okay. So I think that's it for today, folks. This has been amazing. It feels really good for me to get on live after some time. I'm personally in a really deep rebirth cycle, just being asked for a lot of rest and a lot of shedding of layers and preparing for my new season and cycle. And I encourage you all to do the same. You know, there can be a lot of guilt associated with rest or taking a break or, taking some time off. But that time off really recalibrates you to a higher energetic level for your next season, for everything else that's coming that you're being prepared for. So I know I've been a little bit sporadic with like content pop it up. It's just right now it's not a season, that season for me, right? And I'm living in alignment with the planet. She's resting right now, so I'm resting. And so you can expect that during the spring things will be, thriving and moving again as they once were. But I love you guys so much, and this was incredible, and I'm wishing everybody a truly magical weekend. Bye guys.